Well, good morning, my friends. I just thought I'd drop in today and do a bit of a stitch with me again. Um, yeah, it's been a little bit, and I know quite a few of you have been asking or commenting on the fact that I did rechart once again my sewing woman, and I think I finally found something that I am happy with. So I thought I would share that with you again today. But first, I'd like to welcome everybody. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me again today. Um, yeah, it's a channel about cross stitch, as you can see. So, with that, let's stitch on my version of the sewing woman. In case you don't weren't here before, I started out with the version that I got from Golden Kite, and that just was it's a lovely chart from Golden Kite. They do a wonderful job, don't get me wrong. However, it's blended threads. Karen doesn't do just like Karen doesn't like to stitch with two threads. That's the other reason Karen doesn't like blended threads, because yeah, we ain't doing the two thread deal. No. I I started stitching with just one thread years ago. I enjoy stitching with just one thread. I need to get these threads out of my way so I can park. I just prefer one thread, one strand of floss over stitching with two. I just I just do. It takes less floss. I prefer to stitch on lower count fabric as opposed to looks like I parked these and didn't mark these. Shame on me. I just prefer stitching on the, well, I say lower, no, higher count fabric. 20, this is 22 count. 20 count is one of my preferences. Um, this little piece of fabric here in the back. Let me see if I can tuck that in underneath here so that it doesn't get in my way. Get that in there. There we go. Because I was going to stick through it, and then that would not have been good. Yeah, 22 I like. 20 I will stitch on. If I can get away with just one strand, I might consider 18. Take note that the operative word there was might. My preferences are 22 and higher. So 22, 25, 28. if I'm doing over 1. If I'm doing over 2, well, there really is only one option, and that would be 40 count. 36, if depending on the design, I can get away with 1 strand. More often than not, it would have to be 40, because there I definitely can get away with 1 strand. Oh, gotta find a thread here. Pardon me while I pull over my box. My hangy files are all, I bought a filing cabinet on wheels, and that way I can kind of sort of take it around the house with me. It's been working out rather well. I'm rather pleased. The only thing I'm not exactly pleased with is the floss holders, because although they're okay, to get them to fit in the filing cabinet so that the drawer would close, we had to do a little bit of surgery on them. And that little bit of surgery could be causing a little bit of a problem with them staying on the hangers. So I might end up buying the 3D printed ones. Ooh, drawing a blank there for a minute. But we shall see. That is in the future a little bit. I'll attempt to make do with them for now, and we shall see how it goes. So this, what I'm working on now, is my most recent revision of the Sewing Woman. And to this point, it is the one that I am the happiest with. Reason being, this is not as dark. I think I put it away. I think I got rid of it, but there we go. Let me see if I can find a picture. I'm sure I can. Of what it initially was looking like. Oh, why does that do that every time? Okay. Okay. Let me just, oops. Hold on. Hold on. Always something when you come on my stream or my videos, isn't there? Okay. That is not the picture of, here it is. Okay, so let's see if we can reduce the size of this a little bit. Sometimes these things are so fickle. Okay, so let's put it here. See the difference? That's how dark it was when I first started it. And you see there were flowers in here. Now, in what I'm stitching now, you can see that there is, you can't see my pointer on there, but here is a part of a flower. This is background. There'll be another flower coming down in here. But in this picture, my first attempt at stitching this, you could not find them at all. See, here's what it's supposed to look like, what the original artwork was. And you see how there's flowers there. You could not see those in what I was stitching. So, needless to say, I was not a very happy camper. So, I got out the charting software, and I found the picture on the internet, and I put it through the paces on numerous occasions until I finally came up with something that I liked. And what I'm stitching now is, I hope, the final draft. Let's all hope that it is the final draft. I mean, from the mock-up, let's see if I can show you the, let's go out here. See if I can. There. From the mock-up, doesn't that look much better? Brightness and color-wise. Yeah. There we go. I am much happier with it. Much happier with it. I think I have like between 90 and 100 colors in this. It may or may not be a little more pixelated. If it is, I really am okay with that, because, okay, it's going to look pixelated when you are when you're working on it. I mean, that's just a given, because your nose is right up in it. But once the 3-foot rule, remember folks, the 3-foot rule. Once you stand back, once you stand back and you look at it from a distance, I really don't think it's going to be that noticeable. And to be perfectly honest, it's something that I can live with. So that, at this point, is what I'm going with. Plus, the size is greatly reduced from what originally, for example, the Heaven and Earth one. just figuring here. I need to go out one more. The heaven and earth one is quite large, which, as all heaven and earths are. This, however, is in the neighborhood of 286, I want to say, by 390, 289 by 396, something in that general area, close to that general area. I parked this at the wrong place, so I'm going to snitch it from here and put it up here where it belongs, because as you see, I parked it down here when I should have parked it here. So I'm going to move it and stitch that stitch, because I'm not going to start another thread for that. And then I'll put it back where it was before. But yeah, it's a much more doable size for me. Which makes me rather happy. Because then there's a good possibility I'll be able to finish it. Now, as you see, as I'm stitching, it's getting just a wee bit darker, but that is to be expected because of it is marked. Because that is a darker area, and hopefully when I get to the next flower, it's going to stand out more. That will be the true test of whether this is going to work out as I have planned. That's the other reason I really wanted to chart something myself and stitch it, because I'm have a curiosity of just how well a chart will come out when putting it through. I put it through wind stitch, so I wanted to see just how close do they work up to what you see on the screen when you pull up the preview or you pull up the mock-up. Oh my goodness, words are escaping me today. So this one shall be the experiment. And the thing is, it's such a lovely picture to go with Stitcher's Retreat. Oh my goodness. It makes me so happy that Stitcher's Retreat can have a companion. There's one more that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. This is a little hard to find your place to park when you got quite a bit number of threads hanging in here, but I think we're good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. The other one I want to try and get to is the one I was playing around with. I don't know if I showed you that one. I don't have it in Pattern Keeper yet, so, but it's one I'm calling The Lady in Blue. It's a picture that a friend of mine sent me, and I'm toying with charting that one. I haven't got it down to what I would really like it to be yet, but I'm working on it. Working on it. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. So this one, my my version of the Sewing Woman, which you see here today, will be my Stitch With Me piece. So we're gonna follow this journey just like we followed the journey with Stitcher's Retreat. So whenever I film a Stitch With Me or a Stitching After Dark, we will be working on this piece. Hopefully you won't get too bored with it. Hopefully it will keep me highly motivated to work on it. We'll see how it goes. And this will be for those of you out there that want to learn diagonal stitching, whether it be with parking or without parking. This will be a good I guess we could call it series to watch, to see just how I'm doing it. There is not a right way or a wrong way. It is whatever way you choose. Oops. Okay, that's why it didn't look right. It is whatever way you choose. You can choose to stitch on the diagonal, like I'm doing. You can choose to stitch in columns, which would be just going down your column lines. That's perfectly acceptable. You could choose to park within the diagonal or within the column. You could choose to do cross country within the diagonal or the column. I mean, you can stitch this however your heart desires. I've had a couple people just ask to join the diagonal group because they wanted to learn this and perfect their technique, and that's what we're here for. So hopefully they will watch this series of videos as we move along through this project. And because of the high confetti, and as you see, I'm pretty much changing threads every stitch or two, or maybe I'll get to do 3. So because of that, I am choosing to go, here we go, to go to park, to move through each 10 by 10 square on the diagonal, but move through it line by line. So pretty much in essence, what I'm doing is going stitch by stitch. I may or may not zigzag my way. What I tend to do is I look for the next place that that symbol is used, and my tendency is to park it in that place, that next occurrence, which is closest to the one that I just completed. So in this case, I'm just stitching this stitch right here, right now. Okay, so in the next row, there's 3 together, skip 1 and 1. If I was zigzagging, I would naturally go to this one because I'm working across this way. So this row would go this way. This row would go this way. So my next occurrence would be here. If, however, I was working this way, I was working to the left, then my next occurrence would be here. So that's a little bit further away. So I would probably, in that instance, choose to place my park thread exactly where I'm going to place it now. Again, you'll find what works for you. You'll find a way that is going to maybe save you more floss, because I know especially for, well, it's floss prices have certainly gone up from the days in which I first started buying embroidery floss, but I know for our fellow stitchers across the pond, it gets quite expensive. So, you want to be as frugal with your floss as you can be. So you want to probably lean towards where can I park it that uses the least amount of thread to get to that next stitch. And you might also want to look at the distance that you're willing to go between stitches, because sometimes if you're going to go from here to over here somewhere, you might use less thread by ending it and restarting as opposed to doing that thread carry. So those are all things you want to try and consider as you are working your piece. How far do I want to carry my thread to until it's at the point where, oh geez, I would have used less thread if I would have just ended it and restarted. Always something to consider. 1, 2, 3. Now, see what I mean by confetti heavy? This is all the colors that I have parked. Look at all those symbols. Look at all those symbols in there. Yeah, that's how many threads. So yeah, this is an area with a lot of confetti. But you know what? By stitching this way, we're going to get through it. And then we're going to go back up here, and we're going to start to get to places that have less, so that we will be switching back and forth between high confetti and less confetti. Although, by the looks of this picture, And because I have the size set at what it is and the colors set at what they are, I'm not so sure that I'm going to have many places that don't have a lot of confetti. Yeah, not so sure. But we'll see how it goes. Now, here is another decision one will have to make. Okay, now you see that I highlighted the H, the symbol H, and I'm doing the last stitch in this row. Now, when I look at my chart, so okay, I've just done this stitch right here. Oops. Just done that one. I have two choices. Okay. What do you think? I have several choices. Well, I don't necessarily want to go down here because, oh, you can't see that. Hold on. Now, can you? Okay, I need to move. There we go. I'm moving the wrong thing. I don't necessarily want to go down here, although I could, but because I have the stitches up here, and I have one here, I have one here, I have one up here, I have two over here. So those are my options. Then ask yourself, when I'm stitching this, okay, over here is the edge of my chart. Let's move this. Okay, so over here is the edge of my chart. So when I'm stitching this, am I going to end these threads and go back up to the top? Or, as some people do, am I going to, can I make this? Okay, let's do this. All right. Or am I going to not end the threads, count down 10 stitches, and work up this column? Now, that being said, I will say my feeling is, personally, I don't do that because in my head, I would have to park, instead of the lower left, I would have to park in the upper right. And when you're switching like that, like this column's lower left, this column's upper right, this column's lower left, this column's upper right, when you're switching like that, it messes with your head. Just saying. It messes with your head. So rule that out. You can either do that or you can rule that out and say, no, I'm not going to do that. Or you can still choose to stitch up this column and continue to park in the lower left. Personally, I have not done that because for me, that would say, if I'm going to keep parking in the lower left and I've completed, say, this row here, Okay, so you see this 9. Let's go bigger here. See this 9? I completed that stitch. I'm going to work up the column. Okay. The next occurrence would be here. Well, I could do that one also because these two would be done. So I could do this one. The next occurrence would be here. Well, maybe I want to park that because I have this 2 to do yet. So where am I going to park it? I'm going to park it in the lower left, where I always park, always, always, always park. What that does is it changes things. When you're working down a row, it's very easy to always come up in an empty hole and go down in a hole that is already occupied by 2 threads. If you work up the column, you've completed this stitch. Now you're going to have to park it in this lower left corner. So you're going to be coming up in a hole that is occupied by 2 threads and going down in the empty hole. So you have to ask yourself, are you okay with that? Is that something that you can want to do? Or are you not okay with that? And then you're just going to do what the majority of us do and end your threads off here and go back up to the top and work down. So if we're going to go back up to the top and work down, then my choice would be, because this is quite a long carry, to go from here to all the way up here. So my choice would be, I'm going to end this thread and I will restart up at the top. Now, what you can do, because you're probably going to have a significant length of thread left when you do that. So what you can do is take this color, go end it, go up here to the top and restart it right away so that it is there when you're ready. If that doesn't bother you to have threads hanging in the next column. My choice of whether I do that or not would strictly depend on how far I am to completing the diagonal that I'm in. I'm pretty close. So I would have the tendency to say, okay, I'm going to end this thread here. I'm going to restart it up here. So all questions you need to ask yourself. So I finished that. So with that, I am going to pin stitch end here. Now, this is the reason I do like 22 count. I can stitch with just 1 thread, and a pin stitch is quite easy to do on the 22 count. Or if you so choose, you could do the single strand loop ending. That would certainly be an option and something for you to consider. You know, technique-wise, you can do as you have always done or you choose to do. So see, I have not a whole lot of thread left, but a fair amount. So enough to go up here and say, let's do the single thread loop start. So the second stitch. I'm going to come up in this corner. I'm going to leave a little tail. I'm going to go back down in that same hole. I'm going to come up in the lower left. I'm going to put my needle through the loop. I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to go back down in that hole once again. There we are. And while I'm here, I may as well just complete this X and then go park it over here in the corner. Okay, so there you have that. So with that, we'll say this one's stitched. This one's stitched. And this one is parked. Okay. So let's see what time do we have here? 40 minutes already. My goodness. Okay, we'll do another couple more stitches, and then, like I said, I don't like these to get too long. So we'll do a couple more stitches here, and then we will put this to a close. Okay. So if people have questions on how to do this, oops, how you deal with all these crazy threads, it's best to have something around to kind of help separate them a little bit. How to keep them from tangling? Well, what I can say is good luck with that. Yeah, I don't know. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I think we're right here. The only thing I know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The only thing I know to keep them from getting super tangled is to just comb through them every once in a while. Sometimes I take my needle and run it through them, and when I get to a ratted area, I kind of just treat it like you would if your hair was tangled. Just go little steps and comb through it and get it separated, and then go up a little higher and get it separated. And yeah, because the bottom line is when you have this many threads, they're going to get tangled. It's just going to happen. The only other thing, and one of the other things you could do is you could, like when you're done with this thread, for example, you could go a bit further away, run it through, down through your fabric, up through your fabric, so that it holds at that place. Depending on how long your threads are, you still have the possibility of them tangling. And the other thing is you have, well, I did that before. You could be causing, okay, people, why does Pattern Keeper, oh, you know why it does that? Because I need to hit the tablet, not the screen. The other thing, when you do that, when you would say, go through your fabric here, come up a little bit further away to keep that there, what you're doing is you're adding an increased number of times that you're putting the thread through the fabric and applying friction to that thread and causing an increased likelihood that it may start to fray or wear thinner. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. For myself, I don't want to do any more passes through fabric than I maybe have to. Now, I am going to stitch this stitch right away. That's the other thing I didn't talk about because I didn't have any incidences of where I had them apart like this. So I'm going to stitch, if there's multiple stitches of the same color in the row, I will stitch all of them. And then I'm going to go down here and park. Okay. Oh, I keep wanting to, my monitor is not a touch screen monitor. So here we have it. Oh, it's a bumper day. We have 3 in a row. So let's see. I've been on, let's just say for 45 minutes, we did a wealth of stitches, my friends. A wealth of stitches. I will tell you a number in just a moment or two. After I stitch these 4, I will tell you how long we've been on here or how long I've been recording. And I'm sure you're going to chuckle. Because now I got a knot. Oh, it's out now. Got a knot. It's gone. Okay, so one more here. And no, I did not highlight them. And that's another thing that I'm bad at. And then no wonder I get confused. Normally I have a hand underneath there, but this frame, this stand does not quite allow for that in this position. Okay, so let's do this one yet. And I will park that after I'm done. So I'm just going to let my needle right here. I'm going to mark these off and tell you that I have done, as you can probably see. No, you can't see on the screen. Let's see. A grand total of, are you ready? Are you ready? 26 stitches in 50 minutes. Well, isn't that just a hoot? 50 minutes to do 26 stitches. My friends, this is going to take a long time. So we've been here 50 minutes. You certainly have other videos you want to watch. So I am going to let you all go for now. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. And I will catch you all. Oops, click the wrong thing. I will catch you all next time. Have a great day